Yes, everybody, welcome back to Talking Wolves and welcome back to a brand new match preview on the channel. Wolves will be going to the Etihad Stadium on Saturday for a lunchtime kickoff against Premier League giants Manchester City. I hope you guys are keeping well and safe. As always, be sure to hit the like button down below and subscribe to the channel if you're new, guys. And before we kick off, be sure to go and check out talkingwolves.co.uk for your Wolverhampton Wanderers Raul Jimenez Christmas cards. Obviously not long left now before Christmas, and with all sorts of issues with deliveries, get them now, give yourself plenty of time, and grab a few cards as well to obviously give to your loved ones and of course support the channel as well. But guys, we continue a really tough December period. We faced off and hosted Liverpool last week at Etihad Stadium and held them right up to the wire. And unfortunately, they managed to grab that late goal, which meant we had a 1-0 defeat. And it was a little bit frustrating. When you were there, you know, I felt that we defended really well and held Liverpool really well. But in hindsight, we didn't create enough opportunities, and yeah, we weren't fantastic going forward. So that sort of needs to change this weekend. But at the same time, I'm not expecting Bruno Lage to set us up to go all-out attack. In my eyes, the thing that would work best is probably the way that Nuno approached these games against Manchester City, which is sit deep for as long as we can and just almost wait for that killer counter-attack or opportunity. Lage was almost the opposite at Molineux on Saturday. It was sit deep and then defend and add more defensive players on to make sure we hold on to that 0-0 draw, where Nuno changed things a little bit in the one game that springs to mind is the game when we beat Manchester City 2-0 at the Etihad, when Adama Traore actually started right wing back and towards the end of the game was swapped to a striker, and we caught them on the break twice. And Adama, maybe we haven't seen him as clinical as that since then, but managed to grab 2 late goals and give Wolves a huge 3 points. And that season, actually, we got the 6 points over Manchester City. 2 fantastic games against them, obviously with the 3-2 at Molineux as well that season. But it is going to be really intriguing. I still don't quite know, and I can't figure out how Bruno is going to set us up for this game. I think although we do have a really thin squad and injuries across the squad, there's still now, with some players coming back from injury and some players possibly knocking on the door for starts, I still probably can't pinpoint a starting 11 for this game. We'll look at the predicted lineup in a second, but as far as I'm aware, obviously, you know, we've got Neves back. He played against Liverpool. He was suspended a couple of weeks ago. So you've got the midfield options of Neves, Dendoncker, Matinho. Pedence is back. It looks like Marçal is back. We don't quite know the extent of, as I'm speaking, I don't know the extent of Ryan Aït-Nouri's injury, which brought him off against Liverpool. Hopefully, in the end, it was just exhaustion from defending against Mohamed Salah for 90 minutes last weekend, and hopefully he's going to be okay to play because he was unbelievable. And I think we need that sort of performance again from our defence against Manchester City, who, although they don't really have a free scoring number 9 as such, they're getting goals all over the pitch. Bernardo Silva's chipping in. Phil Foden's not even he hasn't really started the last couple of Premier League games. You know, he's an option. Or I say that, he probably has started, but they've just got, you know, with Manchester City, they've got so much strength and depth with the wingers. There's some world-class players that aren't even getting many minutes for Manchester City. So they could spring a couple of surprises. Pep always likes to do so over this time of year. They've had their Champions League game where they lost during the week. They're going to have, obviously, a game now. They'll play midweek. You know, this stretch of fixtures now, Pep does like to rotate it and so on, but they've got the quality to be able to do so, whereas Wolves don't. So I think we're pretty fresh in terms of injuries. It sounds like the way Bruno was talking last week that Bolly is going to be out, but Marçal is going to be back in. But we'll know for sure. Bruno's press conference will be Friday. Be sure to follow us on our socials. The links are in the description, and that will keep you up to date with that news. And hopefully going into January, we can bring some more players in. Hopefully we get the likes of Pedro Neto and Johnny fit as well. And fingers crossed we keep hold of our big stars. Let's jump onto the predicted lineup anyway. I think this is a really difficult one to decide, if I'm completely honest. I'm going to stick, obviously, with Jose Sarr in goal. Sarr has been phenomenal. Even had a really solid game once again against Liverpool, forced to make 1 or 2 decent stops. Back three, I think, has got to be unchanged as well. Romain Saiss, Connor Cody and Max Kilman, all three of them did themselves proud. I think especially Connor Cody with some of those clearances, goal line tackles. Saiss made a fantastic one in the first half, and Max Kilman just looked really comfortable in that game as well. Wingbacks, if fit, I'd like to see Ryan Aït-Nouri and Nelson Semedo again. I think both of them did quite well against Liverpool as well. If we can just get that little bit more from both of them going forward, just to help the attack, because I think that's what's holding Wolves back at the moment, that would be phenomenal. I actually think the middle two is very hard to predict. We've tended to see Neves and Moutinho in there, but Dendonker's actually started the last two games, and maybe Bruno Lage prefers Dendonker against these tougher teams. I really don't know what to suggest. Maybe you could see Dendonker and Moutinho, but I don't think we'd drop Neves. I'm going to go with Neves and Moutinho, but I would not be surprised to see Dendonker in there in some way. Or we could go 5-3-2 and drop a forward player and bulk out that midfield a little bit, like we ended the game against Liverpool. Front three, I think Hwang will start once again on the left. I think Jimenez is a cert through the middle. And to be honest, I would start Adama again. People will get frustrated with him, but once again against Liverpool, cause them all sorts of problems and going forward, breaking forward, and I think he's got to start again against Manchester City, and hopefully he can make the Etihad another create some more special memories at the Etihad like he has done previously for us. But guys, now we're going to move on to this City perspective. I had the pleasure of speaking to a massive Manchester City fan, Stephen, and these are his thoughts ahead of the game. So then, delighted to be alongside Stephen McInerney, Manchester City fan, huge City fan. Hopefully we'll learn a little bit more about Manchester City now. Stephen, how are you keeping? You all right?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Looking forward to this game. City played against Leipzig the other day, and it was weird. Nothing weird, but this one should be fun. Should be fun. Fingers crossed. How are you? You all right?
Yeah, all good. Thank you. All good. Thank you for jumping on the channel.
No worries, man.
Obviously, we use this opportunity on the preview to learn a little bit more about our opponents. Obviously, City in the limelight a lot, always in the news. But from your point of view, can you give us a very quick summary of how you think City season's gone so far?
Really well. As we finally just got to the top of the league, and given the quality of the opposition, I honestly think that's really impressive. Like, of Chelsea and Liverpool have been nearly flawless, yet we somehow got to the top of the table, and people forget that we've already been away to Old Trafford, Stamford Bridge, Anfield, Spurs if you want to count that, and so on, and Leicester as well. So we've had a tough start to the season, but we've got to the top, and I don't think we've really fully got going until the last few weeks, and so so far it's been a really, really impressive start for City, and I think we're actually probably playing slightly better football than last season, even though we went on that massive winning streak. It's been really encouraging and headlined by a few players, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a bit as well.
Yeah. So you quickly mentioned that game in the Champions League, the defeat. Do you think that's going to have any impact on this game on Saturday, or do you think it'll help spur you guys on to be even better?
Probably not, if I'm being honest. If anything, it's probably bad news for Wolves, I reckon, unfortunately. It's because I don't think the game really it won't have an impact, because the players, you could tell they didn't care. I mean, it was weird to see that, because obviously City don't really hire they don't really have players who aren't immensely professional, but there was big, we can't be arsed with this vibes, and players like Gundogan they were being sloppy, which you never see. Gundogan is never sloppy, people like that. But if anything, they looked a bit pissed off when they went off, because I think they expected it to be a stroll, and it didn't go very well for them. And I don't think Guardiola's particularly happy either, because obviously he takes it seriously, and he played the strongest team for rhythm, and I'm almost expecting that he thought they were going to win that, and I don't know if you know, but you get $2.5 million for winning the Champions League game, which is mad. So they were probably thinking, we'll play that, play a strong team, get a nice win, get some players focused, but they didn't win. They lost. Kyle Walker got himself sent off, and also at the same time he didn't use any of the kids that had come along as well. So essentially, a lot of opportunities were missed, and it was a bit of a bad night for City. Overall, it didn't matter, of course, but it was a frustrating night. And I think Guardiola now will expect a reaction from the players who were involved who will play, like Kyle Walker, for example, and maybe Gundogan and so on. But also the players that didn't play, they look even better. Bernardo, Rodri, Cancelo, Diaz, Laporte, they'll come out of that smelling of roses, because they weren't there. They'll be like, it wasn't our problem. They'll come back in with nothing to prove, but knowing that they are the first choice. And I think City, Guardiola will make sure they come out focused for this game.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned some players in City. I think even I sort of mentioned on my preview, Pep always, this sort of time of year, especially going up to Christmas, he does like that rotation. But for you guys, ignore that game on Tuesday. Even your rotation has phenomenal players. The squad in general is fantastic. Who have been the pick of the players for you guys so far this season? I know Bernardo started to get himself on the score sheet in recent weeks, but who have been the best few players for you so far?
Yeah, no, we're dead lucky. We've got a ridiculous squad, and I never complain a lot because it's not fair. I mean, if I sit and moan about anything, really, even if we don't particularly play well one day, it's like I'm being spoiled. So, but then the squad, I mean, there's certain players like Cancelo. Everyone knew was fantastic, but last season he was brilliant in patches, but this season so far he's just been exceptional. He's really he's kind of slightly, as far as I see it anyway, redefined what I expect from a left back. Like this inverted fullback thing and looking so comfortable as a right foot on the left, and he's just deadly when he gets into that inside channel and just whips across into the back post, which is something City have mastered this season. The whole back post, cross it in, goal kind of thing. But then him and Rodri's gone up another level. Rodri's just been absolutely impeccable. He's been a colossus in midfield. Strong. Scored a blinder as well. And just in general, he's been perfect, like flawless, genuinely big performances in big games, and then he's been physical in the games that he needed to be. But obviously, City's star player is a guy who's been taking all the headlines. It's Bernardo Silva. I mean, he's been just... I can't even find the words to describe how fantastic he's been. I'll give it a go, but imagine a David Silva, Kante hybrid with a goal threat. It's honestly mesmeric to watch. I've never seen a player quite like him at the moment. In the way, stylistically, with all the traits combined, I'm honestly not trying to be hyperbolic there, but honestly, it's weird having someone who... There was a stat the other day when he scored a couple of goals, which both were really good finishes, but where he ran more than anyone, he put in more challenges than anyone, and scored 2 goals, and one of them was just a stunner from the edge of the area in top corner, and like that's like you had like a Messi output performance with Kante's engine, which is just... It's mad, and like obviously the goals will probably slow down. He's not going to keep that up, and I'm not saying he's that level with Messi, whatever. But I guess the same point I'm making is he's finding a level now where he's not only just running the midfield individually, but he's scoring goals, and astonishing, genuinely astonishing. And I've watched Kevin De Bruyne and Yaya Toure and David Silva and Fernandinho, but he's Fernandinho and David Silva with a goal threat at the moment, which is just surreal.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind it too much as long as he doesn't score Saturday. But he's gaining a lot of points from our fantasy Premier League at the moment. He's doing really well. But it's mad that was it last summer or the summer before? There were quite a lot of reports that he was maybe going elsewhere. So he's really kicked on since then, hasn't he? He's done really well.
I mean, I think there's a bit of a misconception from people outside of Manchester City in terms of fans. Like we wanted him gone. It wasn't that he wanted to go. Guardiola come out and said that as well. Said Bernardo's a curious guy. He just fancies other cultures and languages. And to be honest, what I gathered personally, talking about, and we could tell is that I think he was just a bit fed up, like we all were last year, because he's an emotional guy, and I've watched interviews and he comes across as a really intelligent, really humble guy to us, and people say that a lot about footballers, but genuinely, like he seems inquisitive and curious, and he's very friendly, and I know people who work at the club who love him as well, because he's the kind of person who asks how you are, as opposed to just going, I'm good, that kind of guy. And I think he struggled during lockdown because he's a homely person, and people couldn't come and see him. He had a 1-bedroom flat in Manchester, which I'm sure was a lovely flat for what it's worth. But Manchester in lockdown, I know because I was there as well. He was just miserable in the city centre, So I think he got a bit fed up and fancied a change and some sun. And I couldn't really blame it. He was available for 40 million, but no one brought the money up, which is mad. And we said, if you want to go, you can go, as long as you get us a decent bit of money. And everyone made peace of it, but no one came in. And I think, to be honest, he's feeling a bit better now because obviously his missus is over him, I think, and he can travel now to see his friends and family, and the city's come back to life and so on. And he's kind of absolutely reveling in his football, and he's just found another level. So I'm glad no one bought him, because we didn't want him to go. He wanted to, so we respected his wishes. But he's here, and you know what? You remember David De Gea wanted to go 5 years ago, and that never happened, and he's still here. So I'm hoping it's the same with Bernardo.
Yeah, and I'm going to flip it over now and looking at a bit more at Wolves. Obviously, it's been a strange season for Wolves so far, but have there been any players in that current Wolves team that worry you going into this game as a City fan?
There's only one name, really. Well, there's more than one name, but it's the one name that gives us tough time always. It's Adama, isn't it? Adama Traore always, he seems to find his finishing boots against us. I mean, I'm not going to sit here, mate, and pretend said I've watched Wolves all this season. I haven't. I obviously watched you against Liverpool last week and so on, but everyone knows the quality that Wolves have got. I mean, you've been hit and miss. You just don't score or concede much, do you?
Yeah, that's correct.
I was looking at your stats and you're like one of the lowest scoring teams and one of the best defensive records in the league. I mean, with all due respect, the games they've been really boring. So but that's Wolves. You're a tough side but then you've got quality, and I know you've got people like Moutinho and Neves and so on, and then obviously Daniel Podence and Adama always gives us a tough game, and I'm sure he will do as well. He seems to revel playing against us, and you've got the wing backs can be hit and miss, but they've got quality, and they obviously can pick out Jimenez, and if they do, we've got to fear a physical striker and physical pacey players. Like Adama have had success against the season. Zaha had a good game against us, and a physical striker like Jimenez as well. Antonio had a little bit of joy against Man City as well. So they'll be looking to I presume you'll be looking to get at us in the way that those particular players did for West Ham and I forgot who said now the other one.
Palace.
Palace, that was it.
Yeah.
But there is a template there. We haven't been perfect. We have conceded the odd goal here and there, and you guys are good defensively. And even though you've not been great going forward, you've got players who can hit us.
Yeah, I think I saw a stat just that Adama, Man City are the team who scored his most goals against. I mean, he doesn't score a huge amount of goals, but he got 3 season before last in both of those games.
He's not a great goal scorer either, is he? So it's
he's dreadful normally in front of goal. So I won't be saying that on Saturday afternoon if he comes up with a good zone. But and tough question now, Stephen. Score prediction. I know not everyone likes to give one, but can you give me a score prediction ahead of this game?
There's not a single person who sat in my shoes who wouldn't predict a Man City win, and that's not being disrespectful to Wolves. It's just because. To be honest, 9 times out of 10 if I predict a Man City win, I'm usually right, just because City win more games than they don't. So that's a matter of fact. City win a lot of games of football. So I'm going to say a City win. I don't know, maybe like a 2-0 or something like that. It wouldn't be. It could either be really tight, or City could run away with it a little bit. Like a 3-0 or something like that late on, maybe a goal or two towards the end. And because there's always an element of the third goal often comes because the team are looking late on to have a go, and then City on the counter will do something maybe. But I'll probably say 2-0. But I'm expecting it to be physical. But I mean, we put West Ham to the sword, and they've been fantastic. So hopefully it'll be the same.
Well, Stephen, I appreciate you jumping on the channel. I'll make sure I leave a link to Stephen's Twitter and his YouTube channel in the description. And all the best for the rest of the season, apart from
likewise,
Saturday.
Man, likewise. Well, I hope you're in a terrible mood at 3 p.m. on Saturday. Catch you in a bit, man.
Thanks a lot, mate. So, guys, big thanks to Stephen for his thoughts ahead of the game. I'll be sure to leave a link to his Twitter and his YouTube channel in the description down below. Prediction. Very, very, very difficult to predict this one. I think I used my head a lot more last week and went with a 2-0 Liverpool victory, I think. And you guys know I tend to use my heart a lot more than my head on these predictions. But I'm going to go with a 2-1 City win, unfortunately. I think City are going to edge it, and Wolves, fingers crossed we can bounce back against Brighton on Wednesday, but unfortunately I can't see anything other than a Wolves defeat and a City win. Hopefully I'm proved wrong, guys. Hopefully I'm proved wrong. Let me know your thoughts and predictions ahead of the game in the comment section down below, guys. Be sure to hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let me know if you're going to be at the Etihad, because we'll all be there. And say hello if you do see us. And until next time, I'll see you all very, very soon.